Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's very hard puzzle. And it's called Shambhala by Icy Fruit. And here are the rules. We have normal Sudoku rules apply, which means in every cell in the grid, place a single digit from 1 through 9 such that there are no repeats in every row, column, and designated 9-cell region. We also have to circle a digit in each row, column, and box. Each circle digit must be different. So we need to circle, so that means there are no repeats in the circle digits either. We need to shade some cells such that within any row, column, or box, the number of shaded cells is equal to the circled digit in that row, column, or box. A digit in a diamond is not circled and equals the sum of the circle digits in its row and column. Interesting. And then finally we have, okay, so there's a lot of information. Shaded digits within a cage. Okay, so, and then let's finish this off. Shaded digits within a cage sum to the value given in the top left of the cage. So we know in this cage, in the central, the shaded digits within the cage sum to the value given. So it would have to be 3 here. For the shade, okay. Sorry. No, I didn't need all of that. Okay. Let's do each rule by itself. So we need to circle a digit in every row, column, and box. So that means one digit is going to be circled for every row, every column, and every box. And each circle digit must be different. So we say circle that, if we circle that digit, that means there's no more circle digits in this row and column. Because there's only one circle digit per row, per column, and box. And say we had a 6 there. That would mean there are no more circled 6s in the row, column, and box. Sorry, there's no circled 6s in the rest of the grid. And we need to shade some cells such that the number of shaded cells within any row, column, or box is equal to the circled digit. So say we had, so this would force that 6 cells in the row, in the column, and the box would have to be shaded. So this would be a valid shading for this 6, right? Because in column 3, which is in, you have 6 shaded cells. In row 2, you have 6 shaded cells. And in box 1, which it's all in, you have 6 shaded cells. So it must match, the shading must match the digit that's circled in their box, in their row, and in their column. So that's an example of how this works. A digit in a diamond is not circled. So this actually, well, this is not circled. And equals the sum of the circled digits in its row and column. So say for here, the circled digit in row 5 was like a 2. Then that would mean that in this diamond here specifically, it must be the sum of the circled digits in its row and its column. which would add up to 8. So that's how digits in diamonds work. And a diamond cannot be circled, so keep that in mind. And then finally, we have shaded digits within a cage, sum to the value given in the top left of the cage. So actually, this is not going to work because these are all shaded, but these are shaded here. So say this was a shading for this cage, then the sum of these shaded cells must equal 12. The sum of these, that's the reason why this doesn't work, is because the sum of these shaded cells, okay, we could actually change it so that it actually kind of works. So it could be something like this, right? You have still 6 shaded cells in column 3, and the shaded cells in this cage adds up to 8 because these are not shaded, so that we ignore those, and then the shaded value is an 8 here. So that's an example of how the shading works with the cage sums. And those are all the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay, first things first that comes to my mind is this. Okay, so first of all, none of the circled cells, none of these can be circled digits. We're gonna have to have shading too. Ugh, this is gonna be kind of painful. The circle digit in box 5 has to be either 1 or 2. And the reason for that is actually, is it 1 or 2, or is it 1? Circle digit is 1. That means the shaded digits in this is 3. You have 1 shaded cell in this middle box, right? Okay, you definitely have at least 2 shaded cells in this cage. You have 2 shaded cells in this cage. You have at least 2 shaded cells in this cage, 2 shaded cells in this cage, 2 shaded cells in this cage, at least. We also know the diamond cannot be greater than 9, obviously. So that means there cannot be a 9 in row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, the circle digit cannot be 9 in rows 1 through 7. The circle 9 has to be in rows 8 or 9. Same with column. Okay, that actually helps a lot. So 9 cannot be, the circle 9 cannot be in rows 1 through 7 and cannot be in columns 1 through 7. Where can it be then? It has to be in this area here. So this is guaranteed to have a circle 9. Well, that means in box 9, all of the cells are shaded. We know that for certain then. We do not have another circled cell in box 9, obviously. Where is 8? 8 obviously can't be in box 9, so it has to be somewhere which adds up to a diamond. And it cannot obviously have 2 diamonds in the same row or column. So 8 cannot be here in row 1. Row 3, it can't be in column 2 or column 7. Okay. So again, we have all of 9 is shaded, which means where can 8 be again? 8 can be the circle date, which is what I'm talking about. Could be any of these. Any of these. Okay, 8 cannot be in box 5. We know that for certain. So that's removed. Again, could be if the 8 were here. The problem, well, it could be there. Huh. Interesting. Okay, let's think about this central box then. 1 and 2. If you have the 2 is circled, that means the 1 and the 2 are shaded. That means either all of these are shaded, all of these are shaded, or all of these are shaded, or all of these are shaded. Okay. This must have at least 2 shaded here. So the circle digit in row 7 must be at least 5. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. What can the digits in the diamonds be? They can be 2 through 9, right? Does that help us any? I don't know. This is at least 3 going this way. That means these have to be at least 4. Okay. Because we know for certain these 3 are shaded. What else do we have? We know at least 2 are shaded in 13, 2 are shaded in 11, 2 are shaded here, 2 are shaded here. There could be 1 shaded here. There's 2 okay, so the possible places for 1 cannot be box 6, box 8, box 7, box 2, or box 3. The 1 has to be in either box 4, box 5, or box 1 for the 1. Interesting. This similarly cannot be 2 or 3. It's 4 through 9. um, hmm. um, hmm. Oh, that's interesting. Excuse me. I'm gonna take one of these cough drops here. What does it mean? Oh, wait, hold up. We know this is at least 5 here because 2 of these must be shaded at least to add up to 10. So this is at least. So that means the circle digit in row 7 has to be at least 5, which means the circle digit in column 2 must be 1 through 4. Right? So we have this circle digit is 5 through 8 here. In column 2, the circle digit must be 1 through 4 to add up to whatever that diamond is. Same in column 7. It must be 3 through 8 in the column. In this row, so in this row, it has to be 1 through 6 and then 1 through 6. Okay. Hmm. Where is the circle digit in column 7? It has to be either here or one of these 3, right? Hmm. This can't be 8. This is 3 through 7 because we have 2 diamonds on it, right? So it could be 1 or 2 here in these rows. Hmm. Oh. No, that's not true. I was thinking you couldn't have an 8 in anywhere that connects with box 5. But if the 2 is in box 5 as the shading, then that works, right? Or potentially could work. How does the shading actually work? I'm thinking, like, can you have an 8 here? Maybe? Hmm, right. The number digits here have to be at least 3 or greater in rows 7, 8, and 9, and in columns 7, 8, and 9. Because one of these is going to be a full 9 here, and then a full 9 here. And that guarantees 3 in the boxes that there are in. Um, hmm. So again, 1 plus 8 must add up to... So 8 has to add up with 1 to add up to 9 in a diamond somewhere. Because we know it cannot be in box 9. So it's going to be guaranteed to have a diamond with it somewhere. And it has to match with 1. Now, 1 can... But the thing is... One can only be, again, in box 1, 4, or 5. So that's where the 1s can be. Right? And it must match with an 8 somewhere. Which means... that the row or the column the 8 is in is going to have the full... the full amount, right? So I guess we try to figure out which diamonds can be the 9 that's going to be the sum of the 1 and the 8. Okay. What happens if the 1 is in box 4? If the 1 is in box 4, that means all of these are unshaded. One of these has to be shaded. And it must be the shaded 8. Here. Which would mean the circled 8 could not be in its column, because we already have an 8 in the column. The 1 would have to be one of these 5. It could not be here. Because then that would, if it's one of these two, 8 in the column wouldn't work. It could be here. If it's here, this cannot be the 9, because then 8 would have to be in its row, and therefore we'd have at least 2 shaded cells here, when we know there's 1 in the box. It could be here, though. If this is 1, and then you have 8 in the column, then the shading here would have... Okay, so if this is 1, so let's say that's 1. That's the circled 1. 8 has to be shaded in column. So what does that mean? That means these would all be shaded. These would be shaded, and we have only 2 here. So this would be 9. This would have to have a shaded 2 then somewhere. Or this would be 2 shaded here. Obviously, this couldn't be shaded then. Oh, and then we have a problem, though. So if this is 1, the 2 shaded would have to be with itself, right? Because the shadings add up to 3. So it has to be, if it's 2 shaded, it's 1 and 2 that are shaded. So then the 2 shaded would have to be here, but then that would be a contradiction. So we know this can't be 1, and this can't be, we could have 1 potentially elsewhere. So 1 would have to be one of these 2 then, if it's in box 4. So this would all be unshaded. One of these would be shaded here. This can't be 8, again, for the same reasoning. So then this can't match there. This could be 8. Again, you can't match this one because of the same problem of the 2 shading would have to be in the same circled cell here, and that would eliminate 8 as a circled cell in column 6, which doesn't work then. But you could match this. So then this would be 9. You'd have a shading of 8 here. 1 shading in box 4 would be here. This would have to have 1 shading here, so 8 could not be here. 8 would have to be one of these 3 cells. And then we have a... It would have to be 2 of these cells then. So this would be a full 8 shading here, if that were the case. You'd shade 8 of these. You'd have to shade all of these. Because 8, again, could not be in this box because we have a guaranteed only 1 shaded in column 2 if this is 1. And then these are unshaded specifically. So these are all unshaded. This would have to be a 2-8 pair here. Somewhere in the shaded parts. Obviously the shading here, so these would be unshaded. So this is at most 7. These would have to both be shaded. And it could be 5, 8, or 6, 7 here. Obviously that wouldn't be 8 here. Uh, one of these is 9. That means 7 would have to be the circle digit here. And that leads to a contradiction because 7 would have to be the shade because we have 9 in one of these and then 7 in one of the other ones because you can't have 8 and you can't have 9 in those. So since one of these is 7, the problem is you'd have 3 shaded here and at least, well, I guess you could have 7 here and this is 3, 3. Okay, so maybe you have 7 here. This is 6, 7 here. The 7 would not be here. The 7 would have to be one of these two. So you have 1 shaded here. These are all shaded. That doesn't work. Because this is 8 shaded and this is 9 shaded. Oh, that's interesting. Can 8 ever be in boxes 7 or 8 or boxes 3 or 6? I think the answer might be no. Because it has to cross with 1, right? So if 8 is one of these, that would mean if 8 is one of these, and it has to cross with 1. So basically, we're looking at this scenario. If this is 9, right, with that being the 8 and the 1 crossing, I don't think that ever works, right? 8 would obviously have to be from this way. 1 would be that way. But the problem is both of these would be unshaded then. So this would be 8 here. It can't be 8 here anymore because, the 8 specifically cannot be in the same box as the where the diamond crosses, right? Because if it is, the 1 is going to be essentially problematic there. So this can never be the cross of the 1 and the 8 because if the 8 would be crossing this way, and it'd have to be in this cell. So that means these, again, you can't have 3 of these here as 8. You would have to have 2 of them here. Or, sorry, 2 of them here because this would be 8 and 2. And these would be full, right? But because of the 1 would have to be, these would be unshaded and this would be shaded. These 3 would be shaded here. This must be shaded because of the 13. So this basically cannot be the cross of the 1 and the 8. We know that for certain. And because of that, I don't think you can ever have 8 here. Interesting. Yeah, because then the problem is that one of these has to be 9, but then that's failed, right? Because both of these are unshaded. I guess it could be different. Well, the thing is, yeah, this can't be 8 because of that. So this can't be the... I guess 8 could potentially be here, maybe? So 8 could be one of these. Maybe. 8 just can't be here. That's what we know because of the way that this cage works. If 8 is here, that's potentially possible. We know one of these is 9. So then you have 8. Could be something like this, and then like that, right? But that's the reason why this specifically cannot be the 9 that combines the 1 and the 8. Similarly, this cannot be the 9 that combines the 1 and the 8 because you'd have to have 8 here, and then you would have... Yeah, it just wouldn't work. Because you have to have two at least here, so it would be a 2-1 pair. Okay, so let's mark the ones that cannot be the cross between 1 and 8. Okay. What about here? This can't be 8, because... So these cannot be the ones crossing 1 and 8. um... So because of that, well, it could cross this way, potentially. No, it cannot. 8 can't be here. So 8 cannot be in row 3 and in column 2, because there's too many digits. So this obviously can't work. So 8 has to match one of these 4. It can't match this, because I guess it could be 8 this way, and then 1 this way. That is possible. Or 8. 8 could technically be one of these, and then 1 could be here. Maybe. I think we've proven 1 cannot be in box 4. Because this one, again, you would have to have, if we have that, it has to match one of these two, which means the 8 would have to match also in that row, but that means there would be 8 shaded cells in that row, which means there's at least 2 guaranteed in box 4, which is not allowed. So we can't have a 1 here. We still could have it in box 1. So again, these are the boxes, these are the diamonds, and we know there's a diamond that contains 1 and 8 as the sum. Can this be the case? It hmm. I don't think so. Okay, well, 1 can't be in this column and then 8 in this row. Because if that's the case, 1 is in this column, that means only one cell is shaded. Well, we need the shading somewhere here, and it has to be 8. Well, I guess this could be 9, and you could have an 8 shaded there. And then you have 8 is the digit here, and then everything else would be shaded. Maybe that works. Well, 1 can't be here, right? Because of the shading here. So 1 would have to be one of these 3 then. Which is quite possible. Huh. Interesting. So again, we know these specific ones. So these 2 obviously can't be. Because they have 2... This one... Oh, sorry. This one specifically can't be. Actually, no. Both of these can't be. Well, we've proven this one can't be, right? The cross between 1 and 8. Because we tried to have... So the 1 would have to be one of these 6. The 8 would have to be the cross. And then the problem is, since 1 is going that way, these are not shaded. That eliminates 9 as a possibility, going shading all the way in rows 8 or 9, which is not allowed. Um... Um. Oh, right. There's gonna have to be a cross somewhere. What does that mean? So we know, yeah, again, in box 3, box 6, box 7, 8, and 9, the circle number has to be at least 3. Because you're going to have 3 in whichever row or column you have to be in, right? Because of 3 here. That means 1 and 2 have to be in box 1, 2, 4, or 5. Interesting. we learned that from box 4 you can't have it. So again, this can't be 8 because if this is 8, sorry, this can't be the cross between 1 and 8 because you'd have to have an 8 here because the 1 would cross this way. It would have to be from one of these 6. It would have a guaranteed 2 unshaded here because the 8 couldn't be in this box. It would have to be one of these 3, which means this would have to be 2 and 8 adding up to 10 for the shaded areas. So this is 2 shaded, which means all 3 of these would be shaded, which means this is unshaded, which defeats the 9 shading in one of rows 8 or 9. So that's why this can't be shaded. This can't be shaded because it has 2 diamonds in it. Well, that means, so the 8 in both the column and the row. So 8 can't be in either of those cells because 8 can only add up with 1 to add up to 9. These two have a problem of you can't have 8 here because it has 2 digits, again, which add up to a single digit, which 8 cannot have with 2 digits. And same here and same here. That's the reason why these are excluded. This is excluded because if we would have to have 1 coming from this direction and then 8 coming from this direction, which means this would have to have 2 shaded here. But then we know in box 5 the 2 shaded would have to be circled then. And then that would defeat 1 circle in each column then. So that's why that can't be shaded. So because of that, we know 1 cannot be in box 4 because the only places for it it can't be in the same box as the diamond that it adds up to 9 with. So therefore, it can't be matching these two. And then it has no other diamond to add up with the 8, to add up to 9. That's why 1 has to be either in box 4 or box 5. Sorry, box 1 or box 5. So if it's in box 5, let's try box 1 first. Well, maybe box 5. Let's try box 5. Huh. Okay. So in let's match each of the diamonds. If you have one going here, that means this is all unshaded. This is all unshaded. We have one here. We have one shading somewhere here. This could be three, actually. Ah, and that would break. Well, does this have to all be unshaded? Maybe not. Well, okay, we guarantee we have to have a 9 fully shaded like here and here or something. Guaranteed. Oh, that's interesting. So that means the one unshaded, the one which match wherever it matches up with the 9 has to be unshading everything else, right? Huh. So what does that mean then? Say if it was this 9, right? Then that would shade everything there. You'd either have a 1 here, which would match, or a 1 here, which would match. Hmm. Okay. I'm starting to see something. Because you have the 9 shading all the way in its row and column, when it matches the 1, obviously for the 1, all the rest of that row or column must be unshaded. So, the diamond specifically has to be unshaded. Right? Because if it isn't unshaded, then the problem is that you can't have a shading in the column or the row where the 9 is a circled cell. So that means the diamond has to be unshaded for the 1-8 combination. Which means it's the only unshaded cell for the 8, the circled 8 in whichever row or column it is. And again, they can't be in the same box, obviously. Okay. So what does that mean? I'm not sure. Well, what's interesting is if 9 is here, well, we don't know where the 1 is. That's the problem. Hmm. Can this ever actually be 8? If it's 8, I guess you could have 1 here. Hmm. 8 being here, then 1 being one of these, possibly. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Um, let's say 8 was one. Can 8 ever be one of the. Well, can't be here as a circle digit. Can it ever be one of these cells? I think the answer to that, to these two, is definitely no. Yeah, it cannot be one of these two cells, because if it were one of those two cells, it has to match the 1 somewhere. Right? But it can't match the 1 in the diamond anywhere here or here, which it would have to be, right? If it's here, there would be a 1 here, and it would try to match, which is impossible. Same with this in here, right? It would match with the 1, but then the problem is the 1 would say, hey, we don't have any valid. So 8 cannot be in this cell here as a circle digit. It could potentially be here. It cannot be here, obviously. So what happens if 8 is here? Well, that means we know 1 is one of these, which means the 3 in the box is the shaded cell. Let's say we had an 8 somewhere here as a circle digit. Then these would all have to be shaded. These would all have to be shaded, obviously. the diamond is, like, say we're matching this. So this would be the unshaded. These would be shaded. So then one would have to be one of these three. So these would be unshaded. We have that being unshaded. These would actually all have to be unshaded. Let's say... So it could not be 8 here. And it would have to be one of... Oh, does it need to match both? It needs to match both. So it has to match 2 of the diamonds here. Right. Okay, that's a lot more interesting then. So this cannot be 8 here, and it would have to match both of these. So you could have 8 matching 1 here and here. If the 8 is one of... If the 8 is here. Obviously, if the 8 is here, and then the 1 is here, it only matches 1. But if the 8 is here, it would have to match both. 1 in box 2 and 1 in box 4. Because the 1 would have to be cross of it, right? So it would see it here, and it would see it here in this box. Obviously, this couldn't be 8. Because it has 2 diamonds in the row. 8 couldn't be here either. 8 would have to be one of these 2. So then it could not match that one. It would have to match this both times. So then 1 would have to be here. This would be unshaded. The rest out of row 2 would have to be shaded. The rest of column 5 would be unshaded up until the 9. So this is unshaded also. So one of these 2 would be unshaded. We don't know which. Say it was here. So if this was the 8, that means all of these would be shaded. It would have to match here. So all of these would be unshaded. This would be a 9. This would be a 9. This would be 1, obviously. This would be shaded and shaded, which forces all of these to be shaded. So this would be at least 6. Right, because we have a shading here, and we have... these have to be shaded here. That's interesting. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at least. So the circle digit then in... The circle digit in column 2 would have to be either... It can't be 1. It would be 2 or 3. Interesting. This would then be either 1, 7, 2, 6, or 3, 5. So that's possible. These would add up to 10. So this is the circle digit. This is the circle digit. We don't know where the 9 is. This would be 8 or 9 here. Because 6 plus 2 is at minimum 8. You could have 7, 2, or 6 and 3 in this row. This would be 2 or 3, obviously, so this could be... Well, it could not be 8 here. This could not be 9. Huh. Interesting. So far it's looking okay. Hmm. We'd have only one of these be shaded. Obviously, only one of these two would be shaded. Um, 3 out of the 4 here would be shaded. Oh, that's interesting. Where would 2 be? Huh. Well, 2 obviously couldn't be here. 2 obviously couldn't be here. And 2 couldn't be here or here because of the same problems that we had for the rows. So 2 would have to be either here or here. Hmm. Interesting. So say 2 was here, right? That means the rest of this would be unshaded. Um, 2 obviously, if 2 would be one of these cells, so it couldn't be 2 and 6. I don't know if that's specific to that though. Uh, do we have anything else that restricts the diamonds? I feel like it should. Maybe not. Hmm. Well, one interesting thing though is if you have 8 not be here, 8 has to be one of these. Oh, that's interesting. Right, so if 8's on the corners, or 8 is in the same 3 area, 3 by 3 area that 9 is in, the other one has to be at least 5. Because 8 has every cell except for 1 shaded in its box. Therefore, the other one is going to have a minimum of 5. Because you have 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5 shaded cells in the row at minimum. But I don't think that that's that much of a restriction, though. Hmm. This is a really interesting interaction between all this, the shadings and then the circled digits, right? I'm not running into the restrictions I thought I would, which is interesting. So say the 2 was here. I'm also wondering if what happens if the 2 is here. Then you could have the 3 being there. I don't think that works. Okay, so yeah, say you had the 2 being here in this area. It wasn't here. So if the 2's here, then the 3 would have to be here. And that's not possible. Okay, yeah. One thing is the 2 and the 3. Where would the 2 and the 3 be for this scenario in column 2? It would have to be this one, right? Because if it weren't, the problem is if it's here, that doesn't work. Because you have 3 already here, and then you would need a guaranteed other 2 more here to match that. So in this box, we know that the circle number is at least 5. So the 2 or the 3 would have to be here. So say we had a 2 here. That means the shading here would have 2 shaded and 1 unshaded. That means all of these would be shaded. That means all of these are unshaded, and therefore we have a contradiction. So there's that problem with that being 2. And I think we have another problem then. Yeah, yep. Okay, so that's... Okay. So we're just using this as a proxy for 8, right? But... Yeah, okay. Okay, I think we've proven what we wanted to prove. 8 cannot be in the top left corner. And the reason it can't be is if it's in the top left corner, so this as a circle digit, you're going to have an 8 situation like this, right? Where it crosses with a 1, and that's the only unshaded cell in that row for the 8. Or in the column for the 8. So you're guaranteed to have 3 here. The 2, again, where is the 2? It can't be anywhere here because of the 3 set shaded cells in their row or column, which would they have to match. So 2 has to be one of these or one of these. If it's here, the problem is the 2 shaded cells are going to have to be in the 8 box here, right? Because there's 8 shaded cells here and only 1 unshaded. So that 1 unshaded has to go with a 2 in wherever the column or the row that they're in. But that means the rest of the column or the rest of the row is going to be unshaded, which will break the 9 circle shading. So because of that, we know 8 cannot be in the top in box 1. 8 has to be in box 3, 6, 7, or 8. Ones could still be in the middle box or in this box here. Hmm. 8 and 1, though, also can't be in the same scenario, right? In the same, like, column or row of boxes, right? If we have 1 here, 8 cannot be here and here. Because if it were, then the problem is they would match, essentially, in the boxes themselves, right? It would have to match in the boxes, and we know that that doesn't work. Well, first of all, if you have a 1 here, we have a guaranteed 2 unshaded in every column or row. And the 8 guarantees there's a guaranteed 8 in every column or row that it is, where it is. So if it's 8 here, and this is 1, the 8 would mean there's 2 shaded in the 1's box, which obviously cannot be. So either this is 1, and the 8 is either here or here, or this is 1, and then the 8 is either here or here. That's interesting. Okay. So obviously, if the 8 is in box 3, it cannot be in rows 1 and 3 because it has 2 diamonds each in those rows, which would have to add up to a single digit with 2 unique digits, which is not possible for 8 without a 0. So 8 would have to be one of these 3 if that's the case. Obviously, 8 cannot be here. Same problem. So 8 would have to be one of these 2 if that were the case. So if 8 is here, that means this is a 9. So we're going the opposite then. So this is 8. That way. This is unshaded. These have to all be unshaded. And we have a 1 in one of these. Okay. You have 8 shaded here. You have 8 here and then 9 here. So that means what? That means whatever circle digit is here. And it has to be at least 1, 5. So you would have 5, 6, or 7 here as the shaded. But you'd have 1 here. So this could not be 7. If this was 7, then you would have to have a 1 be one of these 2. Oh, you can't have 6 either. Because if you have 6 here, this would have to be 1 and 2 at least, adding up to 8. I guess you could have 1 and 3. You can't have 7, definitely. What about 6? Well, you can't have 1 be either of these. So 6 would be with 2 and 3 in the rows at minimum. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so 6 would have to be 2 and 3. 5. It could be 2 and 4, I guess. 6 does not work. If 6 is here, if this is 8 in box 3, it obviously cannot be in either of the rows 1 or 3 because 8 plus 2 unique digits is never going to add up to another digit if it's normal Sudoku, right? Because 1 and 2, which it would have to, right, for this, for each of these rows. So it has to be here. It can't be here because then that has the same problem of 2 diamonds in that column. So 8 would have to be one of these 2, which means, again, the circle digit is here in box 6. If we have 6, again, 1 is already here. We know that for certain. So this is 8. This has to cross with 1 to be here. If we have 6 here, it only crosses with 2 and 3 at minimum, which would force this to be an 8-9 pair, but we already have an 8 in the box. So this cannot be 6. This would have to be 5. So this would mean 5 here as a circle digit. These would all be green. One of these would be blue, the other would be green, which means these are all blue. And then one of these would be 9, and then the other one would have to be 2 unique digits. Okay, so far that works fine. We don't have a 1 here, so it has to be 2 and 4 to add up, because we can't add up to 8, so this would be 7 or 9. These are all shaded. That's interesting. So this is 7 and 9 adding up with 2 and 4. So this has to be 2. So then we have all green here. And this would have to be 4. So this adds up to 12. So the 2 obviously can't be here. It can't be 3, 9. Can't be 4, 8. This would have to be 5, 7 as a pair. So that eliminates 5, 7, and 9 here. We don't have a circle digit here, so the circle digit has to be one of... It can't be here, it's one of these. So this is not 2. This can't be 4. So this is 2 and 4. This is 1. This is 5. We have 3, 6, and 7 in the remaining boxes. This is 2. That means we have 3 shaded cells here. We have 1, 2, 3. So this cannot be 4. So I think 3 would have to be here then. Right? If we have 2 and 1 in the same column, only one of these is shaded. That means you have at most 2 in the same column being shaded, which means that's 5 at maximum, but we know the 5 is here. We know the 4 is here to add up to these cells. So the 3 would have to be here. Interesting. And it would have to be all 3 of the same, of whichever the 9 is fitting. So that means the other one here could not be 7. It would have to be 6. So this would be 6. So the 7 would be circled here. Interesting. You'd have 7 here, 6 here. Does that... But that doesn't work. Again, this would be 3. This would have to be 6 then to match the shading. And we know row... We know row 7 has to have at least 5 shading, and 5 is eliminated here, so this must match the 6. So then you'd have 6 in this row. You'd have to have 4. Well, you have 4 and 7 here, and this is at minimum 4. Well, this would have to be 4 because of the way that the shading works. So you cannot have the 8 be here, then, if that's the case. That's unique, it feels like, to that specific box. But maybe it can apply to here, maybe? Interesting. The other one would have 8 be here. Hmm. I don't know if it works as well as here. Probably not. Hmm. What it's starting to look like, though, is that the one probably is going to have to be in the top left. Huh. Yeah, the interesting dynamic is these diamonds, right? Um, hmm. Yeah, so the reason why that worked here was because we knew we had to have a 2 as a circle digit here and 4 as a circle digit here to add up to these. We don't really have that here. Okay, what happens if we have 8 here? We know we have a 1 here, so it's one of these scenarios. If we have the 8 in one of these, then the 1 would have to be across here. So this would be unshaded. These would all be shaded. We'd have all shaded here. Hmm. These would all be unshaded. And then this would be unshaded, and one of these two would be shaded. Um, we know 2 then would have to be either here or here. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Why don't we try 1 being here? That forces 2 to be in that situation here, which is interesting. So say we have 1 here. That means 8 has to be either here or here. Uh, uh, hmm. Hmm. Okay, so say you had 2 here and 8 here. If that's the case, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Because if you have 1 shaded here, and that forces this to have 2 shaded here to add up to only 3 for the shaded cells. 8 is going to be here or here, guaranteed, because it can't be with the 1 because it just doesn't have the enough shaded cells, or it has too many shaded cells in the rows and the columns, right? So, if this is 1, that forces 2 to be here. And then you can only have at most 2 cells that are shaded. Oh, huh. Maybe it works still? Let's try it. Okay. So say you have just a random 2 shaded, then this is shaded, then this is shaded, and this is the 8, I guess. Ah, and that doesn't work because it must cross with the 1 where it must be unshaded. And that's why it doesn't work. There we go. So because you have only 2 shaded at most in box 5, this has to one of them has to be unshaded. That leaves in the 8 column, whichever it is, it could be any of them, that it has to have the rest be shaded because we need 8 shaded to match the circle digit, which is 8, right? But that must be in the diamond, your needs to match the 1, which must have the only shaded cell be matching when it crosses the 9. So you cannot have the 1 be here. So we know the 1 has to be in the central box then. And we know 8 has to be here because it cannot be here. We've proven that before. So we know... Interesting. This cannot be 1. So 1 has to be one of these here. And then 8 has to be either here or here. We don't know which. This can no longer be 8 in row 7. So this has to be 5, 6, or 7 in row 7 to match the 2, 3, or 4 that's here. Right? This can't be 1. This can't be 1. So this can never be 7 then. It could be 7 still. No, it can't be 7. 7 plus 2 and 3 would add up to 9 and 10. So the 5, 6, or 7 must be in one of these cells. Interesting. And we're guaranteed at least... Okay. So since the 8 is in box 7, we have at least 2 shaded cells here. We know there are 2 shaded cells here. This must be 7 then. So this must be 7 here with 2 shaded cells. That means this is 2 in column... Ooh. Do we still have the same problem then? Oh, that's not good. That's not good. We have the same problem, I think. I don't think we can have a 2 here, right? The only way we can have a 2... I guess it could match the diamond. And you have a 2 here, right? And then all the rest are unshaded. Why did that not match here? Because the problem is the diamond could not be the unshaded cell in column. Yeah, the diamond could not be the unshaded cell in column 4 in matching the 2, because we know that in box 5 the 2 would essentially have to have an unshaded cell. Maybe it could match that one. Ooh. No. Yeah, it can't. Again, the 8 has to be matching the diamond with the 1. And then that must be unshaded. Yes. And so it could match the diamonds here with the 2. And that would be fine? Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. If you have 8, match the 1. Then you would have 3 shaded. No, you still have the same problem. I don't think you can have 2 here. Ooh, but that's problematic. Not liking this. Not liking this. Well, I mean, it is restricting a lot of things. But then I have problems here. Okay. Hmm. Why did the 2 actually work fine here, then? That is kind of the question, right? Hmm. I don't think it did, actually. Is that the case? Hold up. Oh, wait, the 2 could be here. And that fixes that problem. Right. So that could be the case. 2 could be one of these here. Um, and it would not be this one, right? If 8 is here. So I think we still have the same logic here, which works. But so if we try to have 8 be here, the problem is that means the 2 would have to match here. We'd have only 2 here. So then these have to have 2 shaded here, so that's 7. So that's guaranteed. If this is 8, this has to be 7, and this has to be 9. Because we have at most, we have at least 2 shaded here. So that's 5. And 2 of these must be shaded to add up to 10. So that's 7. So if this is 8, this is guaranteed to be 7. I think we've proven correctly that 8 cannot be in any of these spots, right? If 8 is in one of these spots, 1 can't be here. So 1 has to be one of these to match the 8 and the 9, to match the diamond. But if that's 8 here, we're guaranteed 2 here, and the 2 has to be in the same... Maybe that's not correct. Hold up. Let me think that through. So if we have 1 here, 8 here, we have 8 in one of these columns. That means... and it does have a problem, because then you have to have 2 shaded cells here, and then 1 unshaded cell. Yes. Because you can only you can't have all 3 of them here in box 5. And that's the reason why you can't have 8 here. Because 8 crosses with the 1, that would be here. But then that forces this to be 2 shaded cells here, and 2 as a circle digit. And so you can only have 2 shaded cells in all of box 5. But the 8 still needs the unshaded cell crossing with the 1. And that's the reason why that doesn't work. So 8 does have to be in box 7, which means 7 has to be in box 8. That's interesting. And it has to be in specifically these rows. So 8, this is 7 then across here, which must be adding to 9 with the 2 going here. And again, the 2 cannot be here, because if the 2 is here... Why can't the 2 be there? Again, this is 1 then. 1 has to be one of these. So that eliminates 1 as possibilities here, right? This can't be 7. These can't be, whoops. These can't be 1 here. 7 plus 2 must add up to 9. Can't be 8 because of the 8 in the box, and you can't have 1 there. So the 2 has to be somewhere here. If we try to have 2 here, the problem is... Okay, so 8 has to be here. So that means all of these are shaded. We have 2 of these are shaded here. And 5 out of 6 of these are shaded here. Why can't 2 be here is the question, right? So if 2 is here, that means the rest of these are unshaded. That's the reasoning why. So if 2's here, that means all of these are unshaded. And... wait, I guess that could work? Oh, no. Right. If 2 are shaded here. Sorry, if 2 was the circle digit here, that means the rest of this column is unshaded. Well, actually, we know the rest of this column is unshaded. Okay, so that's for certain. Oops. Apologies for that. So we know this has to be 2 to match the 7. So the rest of this is unshaded. These are both shaded. So 2... well, we know 2 is there. What does that mean? Does that mean anything? I guess not really, right? Obviously this can't be 2 or 9. So we know 8 is one of these shaded here. 7's one of these. Whichever 7 has it, it has 1 here and then 3 here. And then another 3 somewhere else. So this is 7. We have 3 through 6 in the rest. So this is guaranteed 1 here. We don't know if there's more. I guess we could have 2 here then. Huh. That's interesting. We couldn't have 2 here is because that the 8 has to still have the diamond be unshaded. And then it would also have at most 2 shaded in this column. So that's why that doesn't work. Or this row, right? So yeah, this is actually fine. Interesting. We do know this has to be 7 here because we have 2, at most 2 unshaded, at least 2 shaded here. and these must have 2 shaded, and that's a 7. And it can't be 8 because we know 8 can't be here because of the scenario that we talked about earlier. So 8 is here. 7 is here. This can't be 8. 8's one of these two. We know there's a 2 somewhere along this column. One of these is green. So that's not that helpful. So one of these is a 9, but we don't know which. We have 7 here. That means we have 1 be one of these. 1 is one of these, so that means it's going to have 2 unshaded here, which are the 2 unshaded that we need. But we don't know which. It could be 2 unshaded here, 2 unshaded here, 2 unshaded here, but we don't know. Okay, so we can remove the reds because we know where the matching one is. Seven cannot be here. It would match with whatever digit, and then... Oh, 2 could be here. That could be 9. Never mind. It could be 7 and 2. Never mind. 7's one of these 3. So... So one of these is 2, right? You're going to have to match 2 for the 8, and then you match 3 for the other digit. So then you'd have a clear... Okay, so this obviously can't be clear. One of these is going to be shaded, at least. If this is 8, that means this is unshaded. All of the rest of this is shaded. Ah, and then we have a problem. That's why this can't be 8. So if this is 8, this has to be the unshaded cell, because it's the diamond, which must match the 1, which only has the shaded cell matching the 9. So then the rest of this would be unshaded, but this can't be 2 because of the box. We already have 3 shaded cells. So then this would have to be 2, but then we can't have the shaded cells here. So that's there. That's that knowledge. So this cannot be 8 here. We know this is 8 here. So that means this is the unshaded cell, which means the remaining cells are all shaded. And we need a 2. It has to match here. So this cannot be 2 here. 1 is here. So therefore, these are all unshaded. We know this is unshaded because of the 2 that's here. Oops, this is still... So 2 has to be one of these 3 here, which means this can't... This is 9. We know that for certain. This cannot be 9. And this can't be 2 either. Can't be 3 because 2 and whatever digit can't add up to... So this is 1. We know one of these two is the shaded, so this can't be unshaded. Sorry, this has to be unshaded here. This is 1. So we have an 8 here, a 2 here, and therefore whatever's here, this can't be 2 as the shading. So then this is 3 and 4 at least. Plus 6 could be 8 and 9. So this still could be 3 and 4. That's fine. Could be 5 and 6 with 3. That's possible too. So this adds up to 8 with these two digits. So it's 1, 3, 5, 7. We have to have a 3 somewhere to be shaded. So this is 2. Cannot be 2 and 1 adding up to 3. Can't be 2 and 2 adding up to 4. Yeah, this can't be 4. This has to add up 3 and 4. So this is at least 7. There. Two and 3, 2 and 4, 2 and 5, 2 and 6. That works. Obviously this can't add up to 4. You can't have 2. This is 1 and this is 2. So it obviously can't be 2. Cannot. 1 and 3 could add up to 4. So no 3's here. This could be 6. Could be 3. Could be 4. Could be 5. Could be 6. We don't know. This is 1 shaded here, and then 2 shaded here. This has to be at least 3 shaded here. Why couldn't this be 2 and 1? I don't remember. I think it was something dealing with this. Oh, it was because this was 2 and 4 specifically. And then this didn't add up. Yeah, that was the reason why that didn't work. Okay. So it was specifically the diamonds that was causing the issue there. This can't, or it could be 4. 1 and 3. Actually, it could be even 2. Sorry, it could be 3 here. Can't be 2. It could be 2. 1 and 2 there. Matching. Huh, okay. So, oh, this is a circle digit. This cannot be the circle digit there. We know the circle digit here, and here, and then here. So this is 2 digits. Cannot be 1, 9, adding up to 10. Could be 2, 8, 3, 7, 4, 6. One of these two is shaded. This adds up to 13 without an 8 or 9. What are the possibilities? 1, 5, 7. 2, 4, 7. So 1, 5, 7. 1, 6, 6 obviously is bad. 2, 4, 7. 2, 5, 6. Or 3, 4, 6. There's quite a bit. Okay. What else can we do here? Uh, uh. So one of these is going to be one with 7 or one with 1 or one with 7 is guaranteed. Oh, 7 can't be either of these. Because 7 can only be matching with 1 or 2. We know 2's here. We know 1 is here. So this can't be 7. Therefore, this is the 7 and must match here. So 1 can't be here. And it must match with the 2. So this is 2. So now we have circle digit here. This is 7. Circle digit here. That's 2. 1 is one of these. So this is 7. We're guaranteed one of these two must be the shaded cell. So none of these can be shaded for box 5. That means all of these are shaded. All of these are shaded. This has to be 9 to add up. So this is a 3, which is the shaded cell, which adds up to the 3 here. So this is unshaded. This is 2. We have 1 shaded cell here. So this is 2, 1. It cannot be 3 here. So this can't be 3 here. So this can't be 5. We have 2 shaded cells here. One of them is with 1. So you can never get... Well, we don't know. Whatever the... Okay, so whatever is here could be at least 3. We don't know. So this is obviously 3, 4, 5, 6 as the circle digit in this box. This is 7, and it's shaded, so it must be with 3. So 3 has to be one of these two. 1 is one of these. That means the other one is 3 shaded and 3 unshaded here. We have a shaded cell here, and it's at least, it's 4 or 5. So this is, sorry, digit, circle digit is 4 or 5 here. This then cannot be 2 or 1 added to this. So we have 4 and 3 at minimum, so that's 7. One of these has to be a 3. So then this has to be 3. Right? To add up to 7 or 8, we know we have a 4 or 5 here. Because this is 1 shaded cell, that's 2. And you can have at most 3 here. So that's 5 total. Because this is 4 or 5, to add up with 7 or 8, these have to be unique digits. Well, I think that means this has to have a 3 here. So we know there's a 3 here. To add up with 4 and 5 to add up to the 7 or 8. So obviously this can't be 3. I think the 3 has to probably be one of these two, would be my guess. One out of these 3 is shaded, one out of these 2 is shaded. 2 or 3 of these 3 are shaded. It must be the same column for the 9, though. So we have... Okay, so this cannot be shaded here. If this was shaded, the problem is you can't have 3 shaded cells in box 6, which would need to match for the circle digit 9. That's in the column 8 or 9. So this is unshaded. If you have 3 here, that doesn't work because then this would be the only possible shading for this cage, which is positive. So therefore, this must be shaded, which means this is the 9. So this can't, the 9 has to be one of these two, which means this is all shaded here. That's interesting. We know one of these two is shaded. At least. So this is shaded, which means this is unshaded. These two are shaded, which means this is unshaded. So we know one of these two is a circle digit. One of these two is a circle digit. One of these two is a circle digit. Got circle digit here, circle digit here. So we know in... Okay. So we know in box 3 we have 4, 5, or 6 as a circle digit. In box 2 we have 4, 5, or 6 as a circle digit. So one of these is going to be 6. Oh wait, we know what this is 3, so this has to be all unshaded. So again, 3 with 4, or 3 plus 4 adds up to 7. 3 plus 5 adds up to 8. So we know 3 is here. One of these is 6. That's interesting. One of these two is shaded. We know that for certain. Could be both. Interesting. Okay, so the circle digit in box 3 is one of these 4 cells. What does that tell us? One of these is 6. Right. Okay. If 6 were one of these, it would have to be here or here. 6 cannot be here, because it would add up with 3 and 4 or 5 to add up to this combination. So 6, if it's here, cannot be here. 6 could be any of these 3. The problem, okay, so if 6 were here, the problem is it would have to add up. This can't be 3. This is 4 or 5. So if 6 is here or 6 is here, the problem is that would add up to greater than 9 in one of these diamonds. So if there's a 6 in box 3, it has to be here. Oh, that's interesting. So if there was a 6 here, it would have to be here. All of these would have to be shaded. That's not right. I guess this would be unshaded, because it has to match the 1 specifically. So that actually is fine. So then these would be shaded. This would be 6. So that does kind of work. This would be 4 or 5. Okay, so if this was 6, so the only place that 6 could be in box 3, again, can't be either of these, because that would match with a 4 or 5 here to add up to greater than 9. Can't be here, because if the 6 is here, again, it would match with both of these, actually, with a 4 or 5 in one of these cells to match up to greater than 9. So it would have to be here. So this would be 6, it would cross with a 1. So this would be 1. This would be the other circled digit. And it would be 4 or 5. You'd have 6 here. You have at most 1 blue cell in one of these two. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would have to be 6. So that's blue. And then you would have one of these blue. So these would both be green. Okay. So this would be... this would be the circled digit again. This would be a circled digit. This 1 means it must match with a 9, so then these are all unshaded. So far that's looking fine. One of these two is unshaded. Okay, so one of these two is shaded, one of these two is shaded, and one's unshaded. All 3 of these are unshaded. So this could match. This would be 7, obviously. To be 1 and 6. This would be the circled digit, I believe. That would be the circled digit. This would have to be the circled digit as 4, 5. This is looking okay. Therefore, this would be 9. This could not be 9. So maybe we need to figure out if this is 6. What happens? We know, again, 6 has to be either here or here, because this does not have 6 shaded cells. So 6 could be any of these 4. I don't think it could be either of these two, right? It can't be here. Well, it could be there. If this is 1 and this is 3. What about here? 6 and 2. Oh, no. Okay, so it cannot be here, because we know 4, 5 is here or here. We're not sure which. Okay, so this is not circle. So circle has, in column 7, has to be either here or here. And in column 9 could be any of these. We don't know which. Um, cannot be here. Yeah, can't be here and can't be here because that would cross with a 4, 5. Right? So if it's here, that crosses with a 4, 5, which adds up to greater than 9. If it's here, it adds up with a 4, 5, which would be greater than 9. So in box 2, 6 cannot be any of these. So 6 can only be here or here. Interesting. So because of that, we know 6 can't be here because of the same problem. It crosses with a 4, 5 in one of these spots to add up to greater than 9. Can't be either of these spots for the same reason. It can only be here in box 6, 3, and in box 2, 6 can only be here. So we're guaranteed a 6 in one of these two spots. Well, you can't have the 3 crossing here, so that means you have to have the 1 going up to here to add up to some digit which is not greater than 9, and it has to be 7. So we know either way this is 7, and this has to be the 1 to match it. And this is the circle digit now. That means 1 out of these, so 2 out of these 3 are not shaded. That means all of these are unshaded also. So one of these has to be shaded, which means all 3 of these are shaded. This is 7. If 6 were here, that means we know 6 has to be one of these 2. So that means all the rest are shaded, guaranteed. Okay. This can no longer be 4, because we have 5 shaded cells in the box. This could still be 6. So 3 cannot be here. We know 6 is one of these 2. This can't be 7. This can no longer add up to 4 because of, and what can this add up to? 3 with 6 is 9. If this is 6, it's 3 and 5, I think, right? Can't be 3 and 2. Can't be, obviously, 3 and 3. So no 5 or 6. This is 8 or 9. This has to be shaded, so this is unshaded here, which means this is not 3. We know 3 has to be here to add up to 10. So the 3 in box 2 has to be one of these 2 digits here, which means we can't have a 3 in the rest of rows 1 and 3 because we have a 3 guaranteed there in column 5 and column 1. So that means 3 has to be one of these 3 here. This is 4, 5, or 6. This is 5, 6, 4, 5. As a circle digits. 6 is either here or here. Seven's one of these 3. 9 has to be one of these 3. It cannot be here. That's an O. Well, we already knew 9 was here. Um, hmm. 6 is either here or here. So it cannot add up to 9 here. So this has to be a 7-8 pair here. Interesting. Three obviously is one of these two. So I think this has to be 4 going this way. So either 4 is here or 4 is here. Right? 4 can't be here. Yeah, because you can't have 3 and 6 adding up. Because 6 can only be here and here as a circled digit. None of which add up to with this diamond. You therefore have to have a 3 and a 4. 3 can only come from this way. So 4 has to come from this column. So 3 has to go from the row, 4 has to come from the column. 4 can't be here because we already have 5 shaded cells, so 4 has to be here. So this is 4 as the circle digit. And this is, that means this can't be 4. So we have 5 and 6 and 5 and 6. So at least one of these is shaded. That doesn't help us much. This is 4. We don't know which one's shaded. Oh. One of these two is shaded. 9 is here because there's no other place for it. Where's 9 in column 7? Can't be here. Because a 9 is circled here. It can't be here. So it has to be here. So this is 9. Remaining digits in column 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And this can't be 3, no 1, no 2. We have 3 digits adding up to 11. This is 9 again. One of these is 8. 9 cannot be here, cannot be here. Could be any of these 4. This is cannot be 2 and 4, so this can't be 6. 3 has to be one of these to add up to 8 or 9 because 4 is over here. So then this has to be 3 here, which means this is 3 as a circle digit. We celebrate because we know we're getting close to solving it. Obviously, this can't be 3, that can't be 3, so this is 3 here. So this is 5 or 6 to add. Therefore, this must be 7 here, which forces this to be 8. This can no longer be 8 here. So to add up with, this has to be 2 and 5 to add up to 7. We kind of already knew that, though, because... so this is 3 and 4, so this is 7. Which eliminates 7 here. This can't be 1 and 7. This is 3 and 5 to add up to 8. That eliminates 3 here. We have a lot of 7s. 7, so this becomes a 7-8 pair here. 16. So 1 out of 7 or 9 is here in this cage. Because we have a 7, 9 here. That can't be 7 or 9. This can't be 7 or 9. So this must... If this is 9, obviously 7 can't be here because those 2 digits by themselves add up to 16. And if this is 9, 7, this can't obviously be 9. So this is definitely a 7 or 9. Let's see. 3 is one of those two. 3 is one of these three. 3 is one of these two. To add up to 11, if it's 2 digits, it has to be 5 and 6. One of these two is shaded. At least one of these two is shaded. Oh, this is 4. We already have 4 shaded here, so the rest are unshaded. Okay, that's helpful. So these are all unshaded. Therefore, this must be shaded here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To add up to 11, you could have 1, 3, and 7. So I think this would be what? So if that's the case, this would be 3, this would be 7, and that's 1. 1, 4, 6, but we can't have a 4 in the box. 1, 2, 8. Ooh, that still could be the case. So 1 and 8, 2 and 8, 1, 2 and 8. Remaining digits in row 6. We have 1, 2, 6, and 8. Okay, that's interesting. This can't be 2. This can't be 1. Remaining digits in box 4. We have 1, 4, 6, and 8. Obviously, this can't be 1. Okay. 3 digits adding up to 12. 1, 2, and 9 could still... Oh, can't be 9. 1, 3, and 8 can't be 3. 1, 4, and 7 can't be 7. 1, 5, and 6. So 1, 5, 6 is still possible. 6 can't be here, though, because we know 6 is either here or it's here. 2, 3, 7 obviously doesn't work because of 3 and 7 in the box. 2, 4, 6, though, does work. And 3, 4, 5 doesn't work. So we're guaranteed one of these is a 6. So then we know 6 is either here or here. Interesting. 11, you could have 5 and 6. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Remaining digits in column 3. We have 1, 2, 4, and 6, and 1, 2, 4, and 6 here. Okay, obviously this can't be 6. Huh. 13 without 7, 8, or 9 with 3 digits. No 7, 8, or 9, so that means 1 is definitely out. Because 1 can only be with 1, 3, 9, 1, 4, 8, or 1, 5, 7. 2 works, well, does it? 2, 3, 8, 2, 4, 7. So 2, 5, 6 works. Or it's 3, 4, 6. Interesting. 3, 4, 6. To add up to 13. So either way, 6 has to be one of these 3 digits. Which means this cannot be 6. Which means we know in column 3, 6 has to be one of these 2 digits. That's not helpful. 16. It either has a 7 or a 9. We know that for certain. It could have 1, 7, 8. Dang it. I was hoping we could eliminate 8 from there. But it looks like no. Where is 8 in row 2? It cannot be here because of 8 in the box. Can't be here because of the cage. Can't be here because of the 7, 8 pair in the column. So 8 has to be one of these two. Nines. Oh, this is 3. That tells us a shading. That means we have all the shaded cells here. This is unshaded. This is unshaded. So these two must add up to 11. And it cannot have 7, 8, or 9. It has to be 5 and 6. That means the remaining digits in the box have to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And this must be 3, because that's the only place for it in row 2 now. So this cannot be 3 here. Interesting. Okay, we didn't complete all of these. So it cannot, it could still be 1, 2, 8. No 1, 3, 7 anymore. Remaining digits are 1, 2, and 4? Oh, this can't be... This cannot have a circled digit. And remember, the 6 has to be a circle digit in one of these two spaces. So that means it cannot be circle digit here. So where is the 5 as a circle digit? Can't be here. It has to be in box 2 somewhere. Can't be here. Can't be any of these. It must be one of these as a circle digit, and that's 5. Actually, we have 4 unshaded cells. So this has to be 5, which means this cannot be the 6 as the shaded cell. So this must be 6 here as the circle digit. And this is 5. Not 2, 5. That means this can't be shaded cell here. This has to have a 6, because this has to add up to 12 for these digits. It cannot be 5, because you have a 5 as the last remaining circle digit. So this is 5 here. It must be shaded. This is 5, and it's circled. So we've got all the circle cells except for the 9 and the 8. We don't know which one that is. This is shaded because we need 6 shaded in the box and the column. We have 1, 2, 4 remaining. And this can't be... This is 6, which eliminates 6 here. We have a 1, 2, 4 triplet in row 3, which eliminates 1, 2, 4 in the rest of the row. So this is 9. This has to be a 6 because it's the only place for 6 in column 3 now. We have a 2, 4, 2, 4 pair in row 2, which eliminates 2 and 4 in the rest of the row. So this is 1. This has to be a 5, 8 pair here. So this is 5 and 8. This can't be 1 here. That leaves this digit as 2 and 4 also. So where's the 1 in box 3? It has to be one of these two, so this can't be 1 here. Again, to add up to 11, 1, 2, and 8. 1, 3, 7 is not allowed because of the 3 in the column. 1, 4, 6 is not allowed because of 4 in the box. So that eliminates those possibilities. 2, 3, 6 is eliminated because of 3 in the column. 2, 4, 5 is eliminated because of 4 in the box, and this must be 1, 2, and 8, which eliminates 1, 2, 8 in the rest of the column. This can't be 1 or 2. That's 4, which makes this 2, which makes this 1. That leaves this as 2. This as 4. Oh, this couldn't be 2 anyway because of the 2 in the column. That eliminates 4 here. This can't be 1 or 2, so this is 4. No 1. No 1 here. No 2 here. Remaining digits in box 6 are 3, 4, 5, and 6 cannot be either of these. This can't be 3. So we know 6 has to be one of these two, which means 6 cannot be here. 4 cannot be here, here, or here. So 4 has to be one of these two digits. So to add up to 16 with 7 or 9, it would have to... Okay, so 4 cannot be here. So that means this can't be 3, 4, 6. It's 2, 5, and 6 here. So this is 2, 5, 6. This means 3 has to be in column 2 here. Which means this can't be 3 here. We have a 5, 6, 8 triplet in column 2, which eliminates 5, 6, 8 in the rest of the column. So this can't be 5, 6, or 8. It's 1, which eliminates 1 here. We have a 2, 8 pair in box 6, which eliminates 2 and 8 in the rest of the box. So this is 1. This cannot be 1 here. Remaining digit in box 7 is a 1. So this is 1 here. Okay, 2, 4, 2, 4 is a... Okay, so this is 3 plus 5, adding up to 8. So this is 8. Whereas the 9 in box 2, it can only be here, so this is 1. This can't be 8 anymore. Okay, this can't be 1 because of 1 in the row. Remaining digits in row 7. We have 2, 5, 6, and 8. And this can't be 2 or 8 or 5. So that forces this to be 6 here. So this can't be 6 here. And this is 2, 5, or 8 here. Again, to add up to 16, you have 4 guaranteed here. That means the remaining two digits must add up to 12, which is 16 minus 4. So it could be 4, 3, 9, or 4, 5, 7. What you cannot have is an 8. So whereas the 8 in box 9, it has to be here. So this is 8. Which means this can't be 8 here. So this is 3, 4, and 9. Or 3, 5, 7. So this is a 7, 9 pair here. This is 3, 4, or 3, and 5. We have too many digits. That's not going to work. Huh. Oh, this is not 4. Okay. This is 7. There we go. It's 3, 5, 6, 7 here. And 6 still cannot be here. So 7 has to be one of these two. And that works there. That's 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. There we go. That was a little crazy. That was not good. We know this is 4. We have 3 or 5 here. We have 1 and 2 here. Okay. That doesn't help us much right now. 8 is a sum of 3 and 5. 7 is a sum of 3 and 4. 7 is a sum of 1 and 6. 8 is a sum of... That's not good. 8 is not the sum of 4 and 5. Ooh, okay. Well, we're gonna have to do some fixing. I don't think it actually affects too much, thinking about it. I don't know why I had 8. Yeah. It had to be 7, 8, and 9. Ooh. We knew 7 had to be one of these. Ugh, crap. I have to go back all that way. Yeah, the way that we eliminated the 9 was incorrect. So that was not correct. but I think the logic still kind of holds. Maybe not. Why did we get the 4? Oh, because we know the 6 has to be one of these two. So this cannot be the circle digit. And we can't have the circle digit here or here. So the circle digit has to be here. So this is definitely the circle digit, which means it cannot be 9. This still could be 7, 8, or 9. So this is still... Okay, so this is still fine. Ugh, I don't know what the logic is. So this is definitely 9 here. This has to be 4 or 5. So 9 cannot be here, 9 cannot be here, 9 could be any of these 3. This is 4 or 5, and it cannot be with 6, so it must be with one of the 3s. So that's still there. One of these still has to be 6, right? So that cannot be 3. So actually one of these does have to be the 9, the other one's 8, 7. So we know this is a 7-9 pair, interestingly enough. Okay, so that's not good. Okay. Again, 6 has to be some combination here and here. This cannot be the combination of 4 or 5 with 6. So it has to have a 3. So that means this is 3, right? So that's still... That logic is still sound. This can't be 3. This has to be 3 here. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. That wasn't good logic. Anyways, why was the logic for 5? I don't remember. This is at least 5. Why did I say this had to be 4 was the question, really? Dang it, I don't remember my logic there. That was actually pretty good logic if I remember, but it was hard. So this is a 7-9 pair. Oh. This has to be 4 this way. It must add up 3 and 4 to 7. Because again, you can't have 4 and 5 with the 6. It must add up with the 3 crossing. So the 3 has to be in the row. Oh wait, it could be 8 or 9 too. Ooh. Not good. So this is 7, 8, 9. We know that the 9 is here though. We know the 3 has to add up. And it cannot be 6 with the 4 or 5. So the 3... Yeah, I think this always has to have a 3, right? If it doesn't have a 3, that means the 5 and 6 or 4 and 6 add up to it, so that doesn't work. So this is 3. This has to be 7 or 8, which forces this to be 9. This can't be 3 and 2 adding up to 5. So this is 6, 7, or 8 here. Okay, so this is 9. Which is 4, 5, and 4, 5. Somewhere. So 4, 5 has to be in the row here. We know 6 is one of these two. So this is 3. Okay, so then that we have that logic. So then this is unshaded, unshaded, unshaded. But we don't have 7 or 8 guaranteed here. Ooh, okay, so then that's problem. This is 5 or 6. This can no longer be 6. Okay, so then that's the issue. We have 4 unshaded in box 2, so it can't have 6 shaded. So this must be 6 here, so this has to be the 6 here. Yeah, and then that adds up with 5 and 6 to add up to 11. So that's guaranteed there. So this is 6 as a circle digit. That means in the remaining digits in column 9, we have all shaded cells because we have already 3 unshaded. Therefore, this is unshaded because we have 6 shaded cells in box 3. We need a 6 in this 12 cage, right? To add up 1, 2, and 9? Well, actually, 1, 2, and 9 still work. Oh, this can't be 3 and 9. Well, 1, 2, and 9 still work. Okay. No, this can't be 7, so it can't be 3 and 4. So it must be 3, and it can't be 3 and 6 crossing. It has to be 3 and 5 crossing. So this is 8, which means this is 5, so this is 4 here. And this is unshaded. So this must be 5, cannot be circled here, can't be circled here. So it must be circled here, and it must be shaded. Okay, so then we got to the same place. But we didn't have, well, not quite the same place, but... So this is 3 and 5. This is 2 and 5, so that makes that 7. Well, interesting. 7's here. This is 4 and 3, so this is 7. Okay, so it can't be 1, 7. This becomes 3, 5. So this all is kind of similar. We just don't have this part. This adds up to 12. It still could be 1, 2, 9, actually, though. Yeah, we previously we had already removed the 9 from being here, right? So this could be 1, 2, 9. It could be 1, 2, 9 there. It could be no 1, 3, 8, no 1, 4, 7, no 1, 5, 6, no 2, 3, 7. It could be 2, 4, 6, no 3, 4, 5. So 2, 4, 6 would be 2, 4 here, and then 6 here, but we don't know. This is definitely 5 and 6 to add up to 11, because we knew this couldn't be 6 anymore shaded, so this had to be the 6 here, because this couldn't be the 6 shaded either. Okay, 7 cannot be here. It cannot be either of these cells, so this becomes a 7, 8 pair. So then we still have the same thing. 1, 2, 4, 6. 1, 2, 4, 6. 1, 2, 4, 6. 1, 2, 4, 6. This can't be 6. So, and to add up to 13 without 7 or 8 or 9, that means 1 cannot work because it's 1, 3, 9, 1, 4, 8, 1, 5, 7. 2 could be 2, no 2, 3, 8, no 2, 4, 7, 2, 5, 6 works. So 2, 5, 6 works. And 3 as the minimum would have to specifically be 3, 4, 6. So then we have a similar situation. 3 can't be here. So 2, 5, 6. This is 3. If that's 3, 4, 6. We're guaranteed a 6 in the cage. So it cannot be here, which forces one of these two to be 6 here. 4 and 5 add up to 9. 4 and 3 add up to 7. So this 8 eliminates 8 there. So that's 7 anyways. remaining digits in box 3. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Oops. Obviously, this can't be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. No 3 or 8. This cannot be 3. Okay. Remaining digit in row 3 is 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, that's pretty broad. Remaining digits in box 4, 1, 2, 4, and 8. No, not 1, 2, 4, 8. 1, 4, 6, 8. These can't be 1 because of 1 in the row. Okay, remaining digits in box 9. Sorry, box 2. 1, 2, 4, 6, 9. And 9 cannot be here. 1 cannot be here. We know 2 has to be in the cage. It's either 1, 2, 9 or 2, 2, 4, 6. So this cannot be 2 either of these. Ah. Where is 9 in box 1? Can't be here, can't be here, can't be here. So this must be 9, which means this can't be 9. So this must be 2, 4, 6 again. So that's still the same. That means this can't be 4, 6. This must be 1. This must be 9. So 6 can't be here. Where is 6 in column 3? It has to be here. So this is 6. So this is still the same. No 1 here. This is 2, 4. This can't be 2 or 4 because of the 2, 4 pair in the row. Also, this 2, 4 pair eliminates 2, 4 here. So this is 1. That eliminates 1 in the rest of the row. That leaves 5 as the remaining digit in row 2. We have 2 and 4 here. This can't be 2 because of 2 in the column. So this is 4, which makes this 2. That means this cannot be 2 or 8 here. This is a 1, 4 pair, which eliminates 1 and 4 in the rest of the row. This can't be 1 or 4. This is 2. This can't be 1, 2, or 4. It's 8. That eliminates 8 here. This can't be 4 anymore. This can't be 1 or 2, so this is 4. Which again eliminates 3, 4, and 6 here, so this is 2, 5, and 6 here. This can't be 2 or 5, so this must be 6. So this must be a 2, 5 pair here. 6 eliminates 6 here, so this is 8. This can't be 6 or 8, it's 1. That leaves this digit as a 3 in column 2. 1 eliminates 1 here. So this is a 4, 6 pair. That leaves a 1 remaining in column 1. Okay. Remaining digits in... Let's go row 7. We have 2, 5, 6, 8. Okay. 4. Let's see. Remaining digits in row 6. We have 2, 6, and 8. Okay. Adding up to 11. You cannot have... You could have 8, 1, 2. So this would be 2 in that case. This would have to be 1, and this would be 8. 1, 3, 7 is now possible. So 3, 1, and no. Cannot be 1, 3, or 7. So that does not work. So 1, 2, 8 is still possible. 1, 3, 7 is not, because 1, 3, and 7 are eliminated from this cell in row 6. This can't be 5. What else do we have? 1, 4, 6 is not possible because of the 4 in the box and the 1, 4 pair here, which would be eliminated as all possibilities if this is 1, 4, 6. So it could be 1, 2, 8. 2, 3, 7 works. If this is 2, this is 3, and that's 7. 2, 4, 5 does not work because of 4 in the box. So either way, we're guaranteed a 2 here in this cage. So this cannot be 2 here. Can you ever have 6? Oh, 2, 3, 6 works too. Wait, it's not 2, 3, 7, it's 2, 3, 6. So 3 would be there, and this would be 2 or 6. So 2 could still... Oh, 2 can't be here. So this is 1 or 6. It could be 1, 2, 8. So this can't ever be 6 then. If this were 6, you would have to have 2 and 3 with it, but 2 and 3 can't be there. You can't have 1, 4, 6. So again, 1, 2, 8 works. 1, 3, 7 does not, because this digit can't be 1, 3, or 7. 1, 4, 6 does not, because you have a 4 in the box. 2, 3, 6 works. It's not 2, 3, 7. So, where is the 7 and 9 then in column 8? They can only be here. So this is a 7, 9 pair here. This is 6 or 8. This must be 2, 3, 6 or 1, 2, 8. So it has a 6 or 8 here, which eliminates 6 or 8 here. So this can't be 8, then this becomes 3 and 8. Interesting. This can no longer have an 8 here. 3 cannot be here. So this can't be 2, 3, 6. It's 1, 2, and 8. So this is 1, that's 2, that's 8, which makes this 6. So this cannot be 6 here. Cannot be 6 here. Where is the 4? This 1 eliminates 1 here, so this is 4, which makes this 1. And where's the 4 in box 9? So this is still going to the same scenario, but fortunately I had the same logic available. I just had the digits incorrect here. But that was happenstance. That was lucky that it happened. So I still have the same logic, so this must be 4 with 3 and 9, or 5 and 7. So this is 4, 3, or 5. You can't have 8 anywhere in the cage. Cannot be in column 7. So where is the 8? Then 8 has to be in box 9. It has to be here. So this cannot be 8 here. Can't be 6. It's 2, 5. So that's still the same. This can't be 8. This is a 2, 6 pair. Okay. We have 7 here and 3 or 5. And then this is 6 here with 3 or 5. And this can't be 3, no 3. We have 1, 2, 3, and 5 remaining in column 7. Box 5. We have 4, 5, 7, 8. Okay. And neither of these can be 8. This can't be 7. This can't be 7. This can't be 5. Remaining digits in column 6, we have 2, 4, 5, and 8. Okay. Remaining digits in column 8. Column 5 is 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. That's interesting. So, 6 cannot be here because of 6 in the row. Remaining digits in column 4. We have 1, 2, 4, 6, no 7, no 8. Oh, this can't be 8. We have a 4. Okay, there we go. That's what I was hoping for. We have a 4, 7 pair in box 5, which eliminates 4 and 7 in the rest of the box. This can't be 4. This is 5. This can't be 4, 5. This is 8. That eliminates 5 here and 8 here. This 5 eliminates 5 in the rest of the row. That's not helpful, though. So let's just double check. The diamonds, 3 and 5 add up to 8. 3 and 4 add up to 7. 6 and 1 add up to 7. 2, 5 add up to 7. 5, 4 add up to 9. 2, 7 add up to 9. 1, 8 add up to 9. 4, 3 add up to 7. 7, 2 add up to 9. So those are all done. Now we need to figure this part out. Remaining digits in column 4 are 1, oh, I don't have to do that. 4, 7 pair eliminates 4, 7 in the rest of the column, so this can't be 4. That's 2, which makes this 4. The 2 here eliminates 2 here, so it's 6 and 2. 2 eliminates 2 here, so it's 5 and 2. No more 2s here. No more 5s or 2s here. So this can't be 2 or 5. This is 4. This can't be 2 or 4, so that's 6. 4 eliminates 4 in the rest of the box, so this is a 2-8 pair. That 4 eliminates 4 here. We know we have to have a 4 in somewhere in box 9, so it has to be here. So this is 4. Remaining digits in column 4 are 1 and 9. Okay. What does that tell us? Okay. If this is 5 and 7, the problem is that would force this to be 2 and this to be 8, and that would eliminate all possibilities for this cell. So this cannot be 5 and 7. It must be 3 and 9. That's 3 in the corner. We celebrate because we're really close to solving it. That's 9 is circled, so that means the 8 has to be circled here. So that means this is 8 here. What just happened? I don't know what. Anyways. 8 is here. That means this is 7. So this is 2 and 8. 2 eliminates 2 here, so it's 5 and 2. 8 here means this is unshaded, so this must be shaded here. This is 7. 9 eliminates 9 here, so it's 1 and 9. 5 eliminates 5 here, so it's 1, and this is 5. 5 eliminates 5 here, so it's 6, 3, 7, 5. 7 eliminates 7 here, so it's 4 and 7. 6 eliminates 6 here, so it's 4 and 6. Woo! That's a crazy one. The logic is very cool. The logic is very cool, but it's easy to make mistakes here, so this is definitely very hard. I'm surprised so many people solved it. That's actually pretty impressive. A lot of smart people, as I said, at Logic Masters Germany. Yeah, very easy to make some mistakes here. But, yeah, the logic behind it was pretty solid throughout. Yeah. It's just easy to make a mistake. But very interesting logic throughout. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.